Welcome to Career Insights, where we help career-driven professionals advance their career. If this is your first time here and are interested in learning the latest tips, tutorials, and exclusive interviews with senior executives and experts on their career journey, then start now by clicking that follow button over here. Happy Friday, everyone. I am hoping that you are having a great day. We have a fantastic guest. We're being joined by Venki Mandapati. Venki is the founder of UpSquad, a social community engagement platform for nonprofits, universities, and schools to build custom branded virtual platforms to meet their needs. And so we are excited to have the program needs, and we're excited to have Venki. So Venki, welcome today to our show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Professor Tirado. Thank you so much for inviting me onto your show.
Yeah, I'm really excited that you're here. So tell us a little bit more about your background, your career background, how you got started, and also what motivated you to launch this particular business.
Absolutely. So I'm originally from India. Once I completed my bachelor's in engineering, I started working as a software engineer back in India. And I always had this dream to come to the United States to pursue my higher education. And once I got that opportunity back in 2015 to go to school here in the United States. So during that part of my journey, I started realizing one of the pain points that I have come across in my own life is to be able to really connect with people who can help me and guide me in my own career and life. And when I interacted with a lot of international students and connected with them here in the United States, and I saw this pain point is not just mine, it has been the pain point for many students all around the world. So I immediately started thinking, hey, what can we do about this? Because we see a lot of students who are graduating every year, coming out of college, and only a few percent of them actually get a job. And once I graduated from college, I was lucky enough to get an internship and also started my career here at the United States. And I started thinking about different ways of connecting these two pieces together to be able to really connect students to professionals who wanted to help and guide them. And back in 2018, when I actually came back to the school to do my MBA, I started ideating different solutions to be able to solve this problem. So I started working on this concept called Career Quo, which is now in fact called UpSquad, as Professor Tirado just has mentioned, a global community platform and engagement for a lot of folks to connect and engage online. So I initially started piloting this solution to be able to connect students and alumni in universities and colleges. Back when we got started, back in 2018, we started piloting at different universities here in the Mid-South in the United States and slowly started getting some great traction. During those days, when I was doing my MBA, I was able to raise some capital to be able to really build a pilot and started testing it. Especially after pandemic, we saw this huge need, not just at universities and colleges, but also nonprofits across the US and beyond. We're looking for solutions that actually connect people who are in need of help. So that's kind of a little bit of background about what we are doing today using UpSquad.
That's really inspirational, and thank you for sharing that journey. So tell us a little bit more about, what does one find when working with UpSquad? And I know you're working with nonprofits and different communities. Tell us a little bit more about the platform itself. That'd really be good to just understand.
Absolutely. So if you're a professional or just a student wanting to get connected with other folks who are willing to help you and guide you, all you need to do is go to upsquad.com and sign up as a player if you're looking for help, or a coach if you're willing to help other people on the platform. Once you sign up on a platform, it's very easy to navigate. And imagine it's just a LinkedIn to be able to connect with other folks. And on top of it, you can actually see people's schedule and actually schedule an appointment directly with them. Once you schedule an appointment with a professional, actually, if they accept it, you would be live with that professional to be able to get answers to some of your questions, whether it is your career or life, to get to know about them and also get to know some advice and great tips, irrespective of which part of the career you're in.
Fantastic. And so if you're joining us either on YouTube, Facebook, or on Twitter, feel free to say hi, put any questions you have in the chat section. Super excited because we have Venki Mandapati here, who is the founder of UpSquad, which is a community-based platform that really is helping really bridge the gap. And I love the fact that, the way you've kind of mentioned what the intention is behind it. And so especially now in the pandemic, how have you seen an uprise in the usage? Like, just give some thoughts about, given the fact that most people now are not physically located with each other.
That's a great question, Professor Tirado. So especially after pandemic, we saw this huge uptick in number of people who are wanting help, because we have seen how the world has been shifted in the past, more than a year now. So especially after pandemic, we saw huge number of students who are coming out of college looking for opportunities. So UpSquad was able to provide to a lot of students to be able to create a platform so that they can connect with professionals in order to get the help. And on top of it, as I mentioned before, a lot of nonprofits, especially in the underserved communities, are serving not just college grads, but also even further, helping high school students who are coming out of schools to be able to get into internships or even go to a college. So there are a lot of advisors and volunteers that these nonprofits in different communities across the US are already working towards. But predominantly, pre-pandemic, most of these programs are face-to-face. So they were looking for different solutions, and one of the main challenges for them is overnight, since they had to move into a virtual mode, they started using so many different solutions. For example, Zoom for video communication, Slack, you name it. So what we kind of started doing is we have the one-stop solution that has all these different capabilities that makes it very easy and efficient for all these different organizations to come together and build all their programming, whether it is for all their virtual programming to using this one solution. So what they were able to immediately do is they were able to build custom branded virtual solutions on top of UpSquad to be able to cater to students from, especially from these underserved communities that they are already supporting. We made it very easy and efficient to be able to serve all their users.
And this particular platform, is it only for US based, or is it also global?
Yeah, it is global. So we're all started talking to a lot of other organizations, even beyond US. So since we are located right now in US, we are focusing more on the US, but down the line, we are definitely looking for opportunities to grow beyond US to other countries as well.
So what inspired you then to go into Edtech? Because Edtech is a specific area. I know there's fintech and there's all the other, but Edtech is definitely very specific. What inspired you to go into Edtech?
That's a great question again, Professor Tirado. So one thing that I kind of noticed, especially in the past 3-4 years, that I'm super passionate about education. Especially when you're working on startups, we have to take problems that we are super passionate about. And even it's better if you face that problem personally. So it was a double win for me because I faced personally the same challenges in my own life. And moreover, I'm super passionate about education because I feel that education is something that is needed for everybody, irrespective of where they are in the world. And that is the lowest denominator where all the people are going to get a lot of opportunities to be able to really self-serve themselves and their economies and even their families. So that has been one of the key things for me. And on top of it, in the last 1 year, I was able to also get selected for this program called Educational Entrepreneurship at University of Pennsylvania. So that's where I'm actually going through this program called Educational Entrepreneurship, where I'm learning a lot of these different areas, especially in the education space, because that's what I feel that we most needed to learn to be able to build an education technology company. And moreover, getting into education technology and actually building an edtech startup is actually one of a big challenge, because there are a lot of different solutions, and a lot of the edtech solutions that we have in the market today, they have started way earlier. And moreover, the universities and colleges are looking for these kind of solutions, especially post pandemic. So it's a great opportunity, especially for folks who are working in the education technology, and we have seen a huge rise, especially in this space in the past couple of years. And after post pandemic, we have seen number of startups grow in the edtech space as well.
I think that's fantastic, and as you could probably hear, maybe sirens in the background. Trust me, my building is not going on fire. It's one of the setbacks of living in a very noisy, busy area, and I swear I live in a higher floor, but for some reason the sound carries. But nonetheless, I'm excited to hear where the passion has been coming from and related to EdTech. You also, have your own podcast, which is Driven by Doing. So tell us a little bit what inspired you to launch that podcast, because, not only are you launching or having your own organization to run, you're also trying to give back as well as a part of this platform. Tell us a little bit more about this podcast.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I love podcasts and I listen to a ton of podcasts. And over the years, I learned so much by just listening to these great entrepreneurs and innovators all around the world who share some great insights from their own experiences. So, especially after pandemic, I have been thinking about to create my own podcast for a while. And after pandemic, I thought, hey, like I got this extra time since we are like working from home. Why don't I create my own podcast to really inspire people in whether it's entrepreneurship, in the education space, social innovation. That's especially one of the niche areas that I am most interested about, being an edtech entrepreneur. So I started a podcast called Driven by Doing. So it is actually available on all the podcast in the market. And moreover, when I began my podcast journey last year, so I interviewed a little more than 50 plus entrepreneurs, experts in different domains. And one thing that I kind of noticed as I interviewed more and more professionals over the past 1 year is it just not only motivating me, but also I was able to share these stories for people all around the world. So there were like a lot of audience from around the globe who listened to these interviews that I created with great guests from all around the world. So I started getting a lot of motivation by seeing some of those messages from our podcast listeners saying that, hey, this is great that you were able to bring a lot of entrepreneurs and also social innovators. Because in the last few months, I was able to connect with a lot of social innovators here in the US and around the world who are especially doing some amazing companies, building amazing companies to be able to really innovate. Because one thing, especially after pandemic, in the last 1 decade, we have seen there is a lot of startups coming in the edtech space, the social global development opportunities. So these are some of the areas that I have been focusing on, and it is motivating me every day as an entrepreneur myself to be able to focus on the problem that I'm trying to solve. And just listening to these stories from all around the world and sharing them is also very motivating for a lot of people to also take up these problems and also innovate and think differently from people and share their voices all around the world.
That is amazing that you've have interviewed so many entrepreneurs, and yes, I'm sure you have been able to pick up different themes that have come up from those conversations. Anything that you can share with the audience that you've learned, like one or two top things that you've learned from all these discussions that maybe the folks that are watching or listening would be able to pick up as well?
Absolutely. So I think the biggest thing that I learned for myself by interviewing a lot of these entrepreneurs is there is no clear path for entrepreneurship. And all we need to do is pick up a problem that we are super passionate about and keep going at it. Because, as I mentioned, it's not a clear path. And as we work towards these challenging problems, we are going to learn so much, not just about the problem, but about ourselves as well. So that's what happened in my own life as well. As I started thinking about this problem and started talking to a lot of people to really identify the pain points that people go through. So if you have an idea and you're thinking whether to start a company or whether to wait some time and kind of really understand the pain point, what you need to do is really talk to people around you. Take every opportunity that comes, and the more people that you talk to, the better that you would become, not just by connecting people but also learning more about the problem that you're trying to solve. And number two, what I also learned is we have seen a lot of entrepreneurs who have failed and learn from their failures. So even though if this is the first time that you're thinking about building something that you haven't done before, failure is just a stepping stone, because without failures, I believe that there are no learnings. And if you didn't fail, that means that we haven't tried anything new. That's what I tell every day to myself, to be able to take every opportunity that counts, to be able to really solve problems that you're passionate about. And if you come across failures, and that's okay, to be able to really learn from your failures, that takes to that next level. And number three, creating a positive atmosphere around you, because it doesn't just necessarily have to be being an entrepreneur, but creating that positive mindset, and hanging with people around you, and networking with people who motivate you as well as challenge you. Because sometimes it's very important to have that support network, as well as the challenging network around you, people who understand what you're trying to solve, and they kind of ask you those questions, those tough questions early on, to be able to understand and go deeper into the problem that you're trying to solve. So these are the main things that I think, from what I learned from little over 1 year by just interviewing a lot of great guests.
And I agree with you 100%. I think many times some people fall into the trap when it comes to the word failure, in the fact that it's something that's really bad. And if you kind of flip the mindset to look at failure as innovation or prototyping or learning, then you're able to maximize that experience. And yeah, no one likes to fail, but at the end of the day, without it, then how do you learn, or how do you maneuver other strategies to get to where you want to go? So with that being said, with UpSquad, what do you see is coming up next for UpSquad itself, especially since we're now the country is slowly moving out of lockdowns and so forth. It'll be some time, but what's the future of UpSquad?
Yes, so that's a great question, Professor Tirado. So the future of UpSquad. So right now we are serving a lot of different nonprofits, and especially now, given the pandemic and slowly schools started opening, one thing that we started noticing, one clear trend is, even though if everything goes normal, people always wanted to collaborate and communicate together in virtual networks. And one thing that's very clear to us, working on this product for the past couple of years, is that if we make it very easy and efficient for people to connect and collaborate, there is a lot of potential that we can unleash for people who are looking for help as well. So one thing that we wanted to do in the next few months or couple of years is to be able to really connect the dots for those underserved communities who are looking for help and support. There are thousands and thousands of nonprofits, and we are just getting started. So we wanted to really serve all these different communities, whether nonprofits serving with their educational initiatives. There are several nonprofits who are helping disadvantaged people from underserved communities, disabled, veterans, international students. So there are immigrants. So there are a lot of challenges that we come across when we talk to a lot of nonprofits every single day. And now it's time to really build technology that helps these people to come together, to be able to really help each other to get to where they wanted to go. So that's our vision and mission for UpSquad. So hopefully we would be able to really help communities all across the US and beyond in the coming years.
Fantastic. And if someone was actually interested also in working with you or volunteering, where should they go to look at the information and also see if they can be able to be a part of this community that you're looking to build?
Absolutely. So you can always go to upsquad.com or write to us at hello@upsquad.com. It is upsquad.com. So you can also follow us on different social media platforms on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, to be able to really know what are the latest things that we have been working on, and the different partners that we have been partnering with across US, whether it's nonprofits, universities, and schools. If you're listening to this, and if you are working at a nonprofit organization, or even at a school or a university, and looking for virtual platforms to be able to really bridge some of the challenges that a lot of these organizations are facing, we would love to talk to you and really help you serve your community members as well.
Fantastic. Well, Venki, we really appreciate your time. And if those that are listening to the podcast, you're more than welcome to watch the actual video interview on YouTube And feel free to take a look at UpSquad.com if you're interested in working with Venki's organization. Venki, thank you so much for your time today. I'm super excited that you're here. Got to learn more about you, your journey, and also your organization and the great work that you and your team are doing. Have a great day.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Professor Tirado, for once again inviting me to be on your show. Have
Take
a
care.
great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.